Radha-raman Hari Bo, Jai Radha-raman Hari Bo. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. You're back online again. Okay. Sorry about that.
Continuing from page 130. One who has transcended the mood is consistently happy for no apparent reason, simply because that's the nature of our original pure consciousness. Such persons are also happy because they have a healthy attitude toward possessions and relationships, car, house, family, friends, and so on, in that they appreciate them as gifts given to them by the Supreme, the source of everything. Practice mantra meditation. To focus our attention, the yoga wisdom texts recommend the process of mantra meditation, fixing one's mind on a kind of potent sound. Authentic metaphysical sound vibrations may seem like any other sound, just a combination of syllables. But Vedic mantras originate from outside of the material world. They are eternal mantras passed down by generations of sadhus. These authorized mantras lift us above the influence of the three material modes. When we practice mantra meditation, the sound we produce is not inert material sound, but transcendental sound that descends from the spiritual world and acts like an alarm clock to wake us up to our original pure consciousness. There are other forms of meditation, like starting at a flame, like
staring
at some. Like staring at a flame or concentrating on the breath. But mantra meditation, which is most recommended by authentic wisdom texts for the age in which we live, has a special potency which other methods lack. The scientific principle of excitation helps us to explain why mantra meditation is so potent. In physics, excitation is defined as the introduction of a higher energy to something situated in a lower state. When the higher energy touches an object of lower energy, it elevates the lower object to a higher state. Likewise, Vedic mantras energize us and bring us to a higher awareness, bringing us eventually to our original consciousness, which is eternal, full of knowledge and blissful. In summary, mantra meditation frees our mind from material absorption, the cause of all perplexity and anxiety, and opens up a world of spiritual knowledge and happiness. It gradually awakens direct perception of our original consciousness and brings us back to our real life. Material pleasures are temporary at face value, but compared to spiritual pleasure, they are but a flash in the pan, utterly insignificant. Should I stop? The Mahamantra. The mantra most highly recommended by the Vedas and sadhus alike is called the Mahamantra, the great mantra for deliverance. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
The Kali Santaran Upanishad says that by chanting the Mahamantra, one can overcome the myriad obstacles to spiritual advancement, distractions, procrastination, bad habits, and so on, that we inevitably face in the modern age. The chanting of the Mahamantra benefits not only those who recite it, but also others who hear it, thus initiating a purifying chain reaction that improves the world's atmosphere. Transcendental sound reverses the dark influences created by all the lower defective sounds that pervade and degrade the world. Who hasn't noticed the unsettled state of the world these days? The epidemic of envy, sectarianism, hate, and violence. The power of spiritual sound vibration. Every physical particle in the universe, each cell in one's body, has a particular vibration, and all material manifestations are held together by vibrational forces. According to Vedic thought, we, as conscious entities, are part of a higher energy above this world of inert matter. Our good fortune comes from connecting to this higher energy, which is perfect, eternal, and blissful. Our failures come come from investing our sense of worth and happiness in the material realm, which is temporary and full of misery. When we invest our attention to listening to sounds tinged by the three modes, we tie ourselves to the material realm and its miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. Hearing transcendental sound elevates us above matter, allowing us not only, sorry, I'll read that again. Hearing transcendental sound elevates us above matter, allowing us to not only perceive our spiritual nature, but also to be in direct contact with our original divine source, Krishna. Srila Prabhupada describes the benefits of listening to these sounds. As living spiritual souls, we are all originally Krishna conscious entities, but due to our association with matter since time immemorial, our consciousness is now polluted by the material atmosphere. In this polluted concept of life, we are all trying to exploit the resources of material nature, but actually we are becoming more and more entangled in her complexity. This illusion is called Maya, or the hard struggle for existence over the stringent laws of material nature. This illusory struggle against material nature can at once be stopped by revival of our Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. This consciousness is the original energy of the living entity. When we hear the transcendental vibration, this consciousness is revived. The best way to invoke internal and external peace, therefore, is to individually and collectively hear and chant transcendental sounds that culminate in the Maha Mantra, which harmonizes our energy with the Supreme. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. The Maha Mantra contains three words, Hare Krishna and Rama. Hare refers to the energy of our energetic divine source. Krishna is that energetic divine source of all energy. Rama means the wellspring of eternal happiness. Srila Prabhupada taught that the Maha Mantra is a prayerful call. O energy of the Supreme, O Supreme, please engage me in your service. The Maha Mantra is uniquely potent because the names of the divine are non-different from the divine. Since Krishna is absolute, all his features, such as his name and form, are also absolute. By reciting the Maha Mantra, we come in direct contact with him, our supreme soul. I'll continue.
Fix your attention by making a vow. Since the quality of our determination comes from the material modes we have acquired, those who want to remain steady in their determination should cultivate the mode of goodness. When our food, association, music, all our choices are in goodness, we naturally feel determined. One way to be fixed in goodness is to make a vow. The mind is constantly running off in all directions, and a vow can help us fix properly, invest our attention. For instance, we can make a vow to chant a certain number of mantras every day. This is called Sankhya Purvaka, which means numerical strength. If you set a goal for number of mantras you recite every day and stick to it, the effect will be more substantial. Similar to how a doctor might prescribe a medicine and say, here is 10 days worth. Take two a day and make sure you take them all even if you start to feel better. Setting a numerical vow for our practices helps tame the mind because once we make a vow, the regularity of our practice becomes fixed and not dependent on the mind's whims. Some days when we are in tune, we will think this vow was a great idea and we will be happy and inspired to complete the practice. Other days, our mind may think, I am not really into this, but because of our vow, we will be able to stick to our practice. When the mind is defiant, the intelligence kicks in and says, we made this vow for a reason and we were going to stick to it. By keeping a vow, we develop spiritual strength, which enables us to resist the mind's various whimsies and temptations. Be consistent. Consistency is more important than quantity. So it's best to start with a vow we can maintain. However small it may be, if we stay consistent over time, both the quantity and quality of our practice will improve. When we add even a small amount of yogurt to a large pot of milk in favorable environment, the entire pot of milk transforms into yogurt overnight. Consistent bhakti practice is like that drop of yogurt. Adding even a little to our daily schedule will not only improve the quality of each day, but will eventually spiritualize our entire life.
Very good. Yeah, so we talked about the modes of material nature, where I had said that various things, anything in this material world will have a mode associated or a combination of modes associated with it. For example, food, I said food can be in mode of goodness, right? And here just now we heard music also can be in the mode of goodness also, right? And I remember when I was young, maybe in my teenage, there was a Hindi movie song that came. It was Om Shanti Om. And and somebody was announcing about that song on the radio. We used to have radio those days. And he was saying, I'll say it in Hindi because the beauty comes in there. He says, वो वाला गाना सुनाइए जो शांति के बारे में कहते कहते बहुत शोर करता है. Because it was not a classical Om Shanti, it was a rap song and a lot of dance and guitar and all that. So that music also had the effect, and how nicely the author has concluded towards the end that when you add yogurt to the milk, it becomes yogurt. So association is extremely important. And so what type of food you're associating with is going to impact the mind, right? If you eat Rajasic food, the mind will also become Rajasic, right? Just by proximity there. So what this book was talking about is that you have to ascend. So at the lowest, which is the mode of material nature, which is lowest? Tamas, right? Tamas, right? A mode of ignorance, as it says in English. And then the higher than that is, better than that is Rajas. And then better than that is Sattva, right? And so, but these are still modes of middle nature. So first you ascend, right? Wherever you are, you reach that higher level. And Sattvam Yad Brahma Darshanam. So once you reach the highest level, from there you have to, Brahman means now you're no longer in the material world. Now you have transcended and you're talking about the spiritual world, where the rules and qualities are completely different from what we have, right? So these modes are modes of material nature. And so now you have to छलांग मार के उधर जाना है, ट्रांसेंड करना है ना, पार जाना है, उसके पार जाना है. So you transcend that. And how do you transcend that? That is through the Maha Mantra, right? So what is Maha Mantra? The word mantra, right? So the word man comes from Sanskrit word, which means mind, and tra means to deliver. Okay. So I'll give you an example of deliver from our real world. Like if we order pizza now, right? A delivery boy is going to come and he's going to deliver the pizza. So what does it mean delivering the pizza? He took the pizza from Pizza Hut or from wherever he brought, ordered it, and he brought it and put it here in your house. So similarly, what a mantra does, a mantra is a sound vibration that will take your mind from whatever mode of material nature it was, and it will deliver the mind to a higher state, and and in the ultimate, even beyond the modes of material nature. So you could be in the tamasic mode, rajasic mode. You chant the Hare Krishna mantra, you'll rise. Your mind will rise and go to a better mode. And then as you continue, now the beauty of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is that the mantra itself is a transcendental mantra, right? It's a transcendental mantra. So when you associate with that, your mind will become transcendental, and slowly your senses also get transcendentalized. It doesn't look any different. So people with a transcendental body and us, they don't look different. It's not that you see some light coming out of a person who is in the transcendental. So like Prabhupada's body, right, was not a material body. It was a transcendental body. That's why when Prabhupada left his body, we don't burn it. So when you burn a body, it's basically the idea is that Bhumi, Apo, Analo, Vayu, Kham, all these things that we took from the nature to create this body, we are giving it back to the nature. So from the nature unto the nature is what they say, right? But for these sannyasis, and like, for example, Srila Prabhupada, we don't burn them. There's no question of burning and giving back the material thing. We just put it in a lotus pose, and when we just bury it and put it underneath like that. So so that's something that we need to do. And if we kind of rush through it, don't feel too bad about it, because the book draws a lot from Bhagavad Gita. A lot of the quotations are from Bhagavad Gita, which we are going to start from next week, next month onwards, right? And but the main thing, the last thing that the verse that Devi Mataji read for us is consistency is very important. Consistency more important than quantity. Sometimes they'll say like, oh, I'm chanting how many now, like 64 now. No, quality and consistency. And now the beautiful, now here it also said that you should put some numerical value. It's very important. So kids, if you're planning to chant some rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you should put some number. And it doesn't have to be 16, doesn't have to be 64 or 100. You can start small. So you can ascend, right? You can say, okay, I'm going to chant half. We have got half and quarter malas also. So, okay, I'm going to just chant a quarter mala. You can get it in the temple for kids, Parul. So I'm just going to chant 28 rounds of Mahamantra and that's it, or 24, whatever the math is, 27. And so you start from there, but be consistent. Like if you said, I'm going to chant 2 rounds, then chant 2 rounds every day. Right? So once you set the goal, it's very, very important. And also, as Vaishika Prabhu says, that what gets measured gets improved. So when you're measuring and you're saying, okay, I'm doing 2 rounds today, so then tomorrow, day after, a month later, 2 years later, you can improve it and make it 4. You can improve it, but if you don't even know how much you are counting, how much you're chanting, how will you even improve it? Like that, right? So that's very important. That's why it says that there is some numerical thing there. And then as you continue to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, your mind is getting delivered. The mind is moving from the material to the transcendental very imperceptibly. It might not happen overnight like that, but slowly, slowly it'll happen. And then you start observing your thoughts and you'll see the difference in your thoughts, right? Your thoughts from 5 years ago against a particular situation. Take the same situation 5 years ago, same situation now, you'll see the thought process is becoming different because the mind is getting purified. Now, when the mind is getting purified, the mind might, it's obstinate and stubborn, sometimes might even go back and want to do the same old thing there. But what has happened in this process is that the intelligence has also got purified. So when the mind tries to play truant and say, okay, let's not do the chanting, then the intelligence will guide and say, okay. Now, if both intelligence and mind are trying to play truant, that is when you need the association of devotees. Right? Because if you are not chanting, at least somebody will come and say, like Shamnagi is very good at that. If you stop coming to the temple, she will call you and bother you, no end till you show up like that, right? So sometimes devotees are like that. They will give you, a good support. So very, very important to not to do devotional service in isolation, but to do it in the association, which we have been doing. And I'm so grateful that you have opened your home and your heart, Shiva Prabhu and Mataji. She's busy in the kitchen, Pushpa Mataji. Yeah, but thank you. And we'll call it a day here. Baby, please guide us. What's the next step there? Okay, there you go. Who's singing Narsingamarti? Those of you who are online, we're going to call it a